A lot of you did ask me about these earphones in my Headphone Zone unboxing series. I didn't have these then, but I'm happy to say that I've spent a good amount of time with these over the last week. These are the 7Hz Salnotes Zero. These come with a high quality plastic chassis and it does give a porcelain look to it. And it sports a brushed metal stainless steel faceplate with the name of the model and company laser etched into it. The unboxing experience is very similar to what you'd get with any of the KZ Acoustics earphones. You get the earphones, the cable, not one or two differently sized ear tips but 5 in total for a perfect fit, and you do get the literature as well. The cable provided is very clearly a quality cable, being made of copper, and it is a detachable cable with gold-plated 0.78 mm 2-pin connections at one end and a 3.5 mm standard headphone jack at the other. It does have ear loop sleeves on it, so it can sit comfortably around the back of your ears. The ear tips provided are very comfortable and soft to wear, but are a little too soft when putting them onto the earphones, making it a bit of a task to do so. The earphones have a compact body, so shouldn't cause pain or discomfort over longer listening sessions. Sadly, these do not come with a microphone, and you don't even get an option of adding one when you're buying these. This does mean that you won't be able to communicate with your gaming buddies while gaming, and you won't be able to take any phone calls. But this only means that the guys at 7Hz are more concerned about how these earphones would sound to you rather than how you would sound to your recipients. These come with 10 mm dynamic drivers, and they're relatively easy to drive with a low resistance of just 32 ohms. Thanks to having an easy to drive low resistance, you don't really need to go past 35 or 45% volume. You can go past 45% volume, but I wouldn't recommend it if you want to protect your ears. Sadly, these do lose their roundedness and body at lower volumes. You will need to sit at around 40% to really enjoy these earphones to the fullest. Soundstage is presented to you within a bubble in your head. But if you do listen to good recordings, there is a little more expansion with these earphones, and in some cases can even give you a slight vertical stage. Now, the imaging on these I don't think is as clean as some of the other IEMs that I reviewed recently. Now, I wouldn't be able to tell absolutely certainly because I don't have those other IEMs to test back to back along with these. But these do make it fairly easy to zone into the various nuances you'd like to enjoy while consuming your audio. The high frequencies are well detailed and brought to you with confidence in their delivery. Triangles, cymbals, or any percussion instrument that deliver this frequency range are certain in their presentation, and with the backing of how well these image, these earphones don't sound like they should be sold at the cost they are at presently. Listening to Dave Matthews Band's Every Day, hard smashes of cymbals in this celebratory track don't hurt the ear or cause any discomfort. These have been tuned to be like the third porridge Goldilocks tried out. It's just right and stay clear of ever being fatiguing. Mid frequencies do have a slight seesaw effect going on because the upper mids are slightly more elevated than the lower mids. Now, this isn't as apparent as some of the other earphones I have reviewed in the past. Despite this strategy of tuning, male vocals don't come across as being nasal as would happen with some other earphones. They do stand well defined and rounded, but where it does get evident of this slight undulation is when listening to Justin Timberlake's Say Something featuring Chris Stapleton. Justin's voice is a lot more forward than Chris's, which sits slightly further back in the distance, since he does have a lower register than Justin's, but their vocal tonality is clean and non-metallic. Kudos to the guys at 7Hz for pulling this off. The lower frequencies are not as flat as I expected them to be. There is some heft in this range. Of all the IEMs I reviewed recently, this has to be one of the more bass-happy IEMs among those. It doesn't deliver this range in a forceful way. Rather, it does have things under control and manages to hold structure while listening to some EDM tracks. Listening to Khalid perform his well-known track Talk, the bass is full-bodied and ever ready to handle higher volumes. The bass does pick up more body with higher volumes you give, but it sounds comfortable at 40%. The low frequencies aren't handled with quite as much excitement as the sub-low frequencies, which can make rock music sound a little on the thinner side than I'd like, but these do remain enjoyable to listen to if you're into that genre. So to sum up, when it comes to their build, these are very nicely put together earphones. I do like the overall finish on the chassis. It does have that shiny look which makes you wonder if it is porcelain, but It is a glossy plastic. It doesn't look like it will pick up scratches over time. It is very nicely made. The metal faceplate on it is very classy looking. It is a brushed metal finish, and the laser etched name on it is very finely done. The cable is also very well made. From the 2-pin connector to the 3.5mm jack, it is beautifully constructed. All the little details on it are very nicely finished. I do find it very difficult to believe that this product costs as much as it does, because if you gave me these set of earphones to review without telling me the price to begin with, I honestly would have shot in a much higher price bracket, because the overall construction of them is quite good. And especially when you talk about how these sound, one would think that they wouldn't have so much of funding to put into R&D for build and their sound. And speaking about the sound, something I did realize while listening to these over the past week was the timbre of a lot of acoustic instruments and vocals is very close to being true. So a lot of earphones do tend to sound a bit tinny. They sound metallic because they've dropped the lower mids by quite a bit. But this set of earphones has come very close to giving you a very true tone, and I genuinely can't believe that these cost as much as they do. The vocals in particular do shine through very clearly with these. I mean, a lot of the instruments in that range also do sit very comfortably, and they do also present themselves very well. But usually a dead giveaway of some budget earphones is they will tend to sound a little too tinny or a little too crisp. There won't be too much roundedness, there'll be too much richness in their delivery. This doesn't do that. It's almost as if you're interacting with somebody in front of you. Okay, so if you think that I'm only praising it, let's talk about some of the negatives. So at least the unit that I'm reviewing right now does look like it's put together very well. I don't see that it'll fall apart anytime soon unless you sit on it or crush it or put it in some difficult situations. But when it comes to the sound, there are some tracks where these earphones can struggle. So particularly in the bass area. Now, I put these up against Hans Zimmer's Terraforming from the Man of Steel soundtrack, and there are some tones where it can't handle it. It starts coughing almost. It cannot handle the amount of detail that's coming into the earphone at that point of time. These aren't, I think, the most high resolution earphones that there are. I think maybe the Moondrop Chews would have done a better job minus the bass. This tended to do the coughing thing when all the bass built up. So that's the one major negative I'd say about these. But then again, you can't expect the world from these earphones. They are not high-end earphones. These are an introduction into the audiophile world, and honestly, for the price, I don't want to bash these, but they are pretty good for what they're worth. When it comes to mentioning Hans Zimmer and Terraforming from the Man of Steel soundtrack, I know this is a very demanding track, which is why I played it with these earphones. Now, I wouldn't say it's fair to play something so high-res with something like these, but it's just a matter of knowing what you're getting into. If you're not yet into very high-resolution audio and you're okay with, I'd say, something a little more transparent, it's fine. But having said that, the fact that these are able to tell you that they can't handle higher resolution audio does let you know that these have a certain amount of transparency to them. So if you are shifting over from more compressed audio to a higher res audio, these will tell you that I have a limit and they can only go so far. And I suppose when you reach that point in time when you're shifting over to higher res audio, these will be very clear in telling you that it's time to upgrade your equipment. But having said that, I have to say that these are absolutely terrific for the price, and these are another set of earphones made by another company that is a terrific introduction to the audiophile hobby if you're planning on getting into it. So would I recommend these earphones? Well, compared to the other 8 IEMs that I did review, I think my favorite ones there were the KZ-ZSN Pro X. I did like the Moondrop Chews. I did like the Venture Acoustics Bonus IE and the Blonde BL03s. Those left lasting impressions. I'd say that these 7Hz are up there amongst those few. I wouldn't be able to say if this is better than all of them because I can't do back-to-back to them right now because I don't have those, but these are certainly amongst those top few. In short, yes, I would recommend these, but if you do want more detail about those earphones like I have described these with their sound, you can bounce back to those reviews that I've done in that web series. So now how much do these cost? Well, at the time of recording this at least, they have an MRP of 2,299. They do go for 1,990, but at the time of recording this, I think there's a Festival of Sound sale going on Headphone Zone, and they are being sold for as low as 1,790. You can buy these earphones on headphonezone.in, and if you think these are for you based on how I've described them, I am leaving a link down below for you in the description. So if you have stayed for this long, I do presume you like the content on my channel, and if you would like to support it, I'm sure you know exactly how to. I do hope I've helped you make some sort of purchase decision, and of course, thank you for tuning into Paul's POV for some sound advice.